So for those of you that don't know, this week is Teacher Appreciation Week. And to me, what that really means is it's a week where your students come in on Monday, tell you that they love you, and they tell you thank you for being our teacher. And then for the rest of the week, they act as worse as they possibly can because they know that you have to teach them anyway because that's your job. Today, I pretended to pass out in front of my students because we had gone over something over and over again, and then I asked the question 2 seconds later and everyone shouted out the wrong answer, so I pretended that they killed me, and I was like, I'm just gonna walk out and I'm never gonna come back. And they were like, you have to if you want to get paid. And so they know exactly what I am and what I'm there for. But that also really made me sad because that's not at all what I'm there for. So I told them, I was like, well, actually, I could get paid if I just sit here and stare at you guys. But that's not the kind of teacher I want to be. And then we all laughed it off and moved on. But I just thought that was a good funny story to share for Teacher Appreciation Week, because although the kids don't act like they appreciate you, they really do appreciate you every single day. It's not just a once a year Teacher Appreciation Week where the kids are supposed to be angels and tell you thank you every day and I love you every day, because that's not going to happen. But they tell you in their own ways every day that they appreciate you, and that their education means a lot to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff online about a hashtag why I teach, and there's so many reasons why I teach, but I feel as a first-year teacher especially, people are always questioning me about that. What are the reasons that you teach? Or when I tell them, oh yeah, I teach 6th grade in the inner city of Milwaukee, they always look at you like, oh, and you said that with a smile on your face? But yeah, most definitely, because there's so many reasons why it's a blessing. And so I just thought that out of all the weeks, it would be great to share why I do what I do. It would be Teacher Appreciation Week. So the first reason that any teacher teaches is, well, I should say any Christian teacher teaches, is because we want as many souls to get to go to heaven as we can, right? So as a Christian teacher, that's my main thing. And so if I ever get a thank you from a student, I would hope that the thank you would be, thank you for forgiving me, thank you for showing me that Jesus is my Savior, thank you for always believing that I can accomplish things, thank you for whatever, and then I can always throw that back and say well, no problem, but Jesus did that for you first, or God did that for you first, God loved you first, or God forgave you first, or I believe in you because the Lord believes in you and he gave you those talents and abilities. So yeah, I think that's got to be my number one, is just to be able to tell my kids every day that they are loved by me and they are loved by their God. Especially in the inner city of Milwaukee, we don't know what kind of families some of our kids come from, especially if they're new. I had 4 new students to our school this year, and of course I was new, so I really didn't know any of the families, but I think that's the biggest challenge too, is making sure that you're being the positive Christian role model that they need in their daily life. But anyway, that's not why I teach. But it's good to know that I'm needed, and that what I have to say is important to the kids. And also, just on the subject of Teacher Appreciation Week, I think that like I said before, although teachers probably want to know that they're appreciated a little, especially on the really bad weeks when it doesn't feel like the kids appreciate you or want you there at all. Those are definitely weeks teachers, I feel, would want to be told that they're appreciated. But I think overall, teachers have probably got to be the hardest people to thank, because we're always going to be like, oh no, like you did that, or no, the Lord did that, especially for Christian teachers, because like none of this comes from us. Like we are doing the calling that the Lord called us to, and like that feels great to just be able, when people do thank us for all the work we do, all we have to say is like, well, I mean, thank you for thanking me, but it really wasn't me. Like, it was God, or, you know. So I think that teachers are probably the hardest people to thank. So I think that the fact that we get a whole week of teacher appreciation is probably good, because I'm sure that people have tried to say thank you to me already, like on Monday, and I was just like, oh yeah, I mean, sure. And they were like trying to be sincere and saying that, but like we kind of just brush it off because like this is our job, this is what we do. And I guess that in other fields like doctors, or I guess any sort of medicine, police officers and business, like you get thanked for what you do a lot, hopefully. If not, we got to do a better job at that too. But I think that kind of like comes with the territory. Like if I call a police officer and he comes, like I'm gonna thank him right then and there. But like I hand out a math test to my kids, and they're not gonna be like, oh, thank you, Mrs. Art, so much for giving us this math test. That's never gonna come out of my student's mouth. And so I think that getting appreciation is like the hardest thing for teachers. It comes off weird. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, back to why I teach. So definitely the souls is one. And another thing would just be getting to hang out with young people all day, every day is a challenge for sure, but also like the most fun job that anyone could ever have. Like who wouldn't want to hang out with kids and get to hear their like weird, quirky stories, and get to play basketball with them, or I don't know, see their eyes light up when they get to sing their favorite song from their favorite musical. Like these moments are what make me love to teach. I'd say why I teach in that sense is because I just genuinely enjoy being around kids, because their ideas are so much fun. And people are like, well, you're still a kid too, so obviously you like being around kids. But that's like what makes it fun for me, like the fact that I know who Fetty Wap is, and I know who how to dab. Like those things are what make the day fun. And yeah, so I'd just say definitely why I teach is that. And then I would also say that the reason why I teach is because watching the light bulb go on in a student's eyes when they finally understand something, especially when they're struggling, is a huge blessing and a huge benefit to being a teacher. Because especially if you know the kind of student you were in grade school, and you know what you struggled with, so that you can take that and be like, dude, like I know quadratic formulas, like, oh my gosh, so over your head, right? But we're gonna get this, because if I could get it, you could get it. And so just being able to be on their level, but then also to get to see the light bulb go on, because you're like, oh yeah, I remember that I didn't get this, but my teacher told me this. So yeah, so definitely the light bulb and the spark that they get when they enjoy things. Like we're writing our own children's book right now for our writing curriculum, and I've like seen step by step their writing. Like when we came in this year, we could not write very well, so we had to start with the basics, like what's a noun, what's a verb, what's an adjective, in 6th grade. And that might seem weird, but again, socioeconomic status kind of messes with how our brains function here. So we started with that stuff, and we're writing our own book now. So we had to edit it ourselves. We had to get our friends to edit it. I had to edit their stories for them. We had to make sure our handwriting was really great. We had to make sure all of our grammar was great. We have to illustrate our own story. So we are like, it was so cool. The first day I gave them their books, they're like staring at them like, these are ours. They're blank books. They're just hardcover white books that they get to create something out of. And all of their eyes were just like either scared or really excited, but either way, either one of those feelings is still super great, and it was really awesome to get to see that. So, wrapping it up, 3 main reasons why I teach would be, number 1, the fact that I get to share God's word with my children every single day, and I know that I get to see them in heaven someday is the ultimate blessing ever. Number 2 would be I get to hang out with the coolest kids and get to be a part of their life and hopefully make an impact enough on them where they do come back someday and tell me like that I helped them with something or that I changed their life in some way. So maybe it's not this teacher appreciation week that I'm going to get appreciation, but I hope that it's sometime in the future where some kid will come back and tell me that I made a difference in his or her life. And then number 3 would just, it kind of goes with that, is to see the light bulb. If you love kids, you love the Lord, and you love learning, then you're going to teach your kids to love those things. And they're going to blossom, and it's going to be a great thing to see. I think being a first-year teacher has given me a fresh perspective on why I did this, because a lot of people want to quit after their first year. And a lot of people told me that they're surprised I haven't quit after my first year, especially being where I am, but then I just look at them and I'm like, well, thanks for the appreciation. No, but I look at them and I think that the fact that this is my first year has actually made me want to stay more, because now I think I can improve what I did wrong this year. I can love my students harder next year. I can tweak this, I can tweak that, I can be a better version of myself, I can save more souls. So there's just a lot more positives than negatives, but I think that being new gave me that fresh perspective, and I wish that some teachers could go back to their first year and rethink all the struggles they went through and rethink all of the sadness they went through and then process it and be like, that's made me the teacher I am today. So I don't know, it's a thing to think about. But since we're doing teacher appreciation video, I think it's fitting to thank the teachers that made me the teacher I am. So Miss Kathy Price, she was my 3rd grade teacher, still very close. She came to my wedding. She just taught me to love life. One of my kids told me today, like, Mrs. Arndt, when we don't disappoint you, you're like always happy. And I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, girlfriend, sometimes even when you guys don't disappoint me, I can't possibly be always happy. And she was like, well, you do a good job at pretending then. And I think that I just learned to take life one day at a time and to be happy and to enjoy everything from that teacher, Miss Kathy Price. So thank you so very much. Mr. Brown, my 6th grade teacher, you taught me so much on how to be a 6th grade teacher. I never thought I could do this in my whole life, but you just remembering back to what I did in 6th grade and all the books we read and how you talked to us like humans and how we felt like we were just on top of the world was definitely something I don't ever forget, and I hope that I make my students feel that way every day too. And then my high school English teacher, Miss Braun, I would also consider one of a teacher I need to thank. You didn't owe me anything. It's very hard to be a rock solid personal teacher in high school because there's so many kids going through your class, but I always felt like I was important and that what you had to teach was important and that your words were gold, and that if I didn't catch every single word you said, that I was going to lose out on something. You were very engaging, and I hope that I can be that engaging for my students. So yeah, since we're on that mode, we'll stick with those. So I don't know if you even watched this all the way through, but if you did, thanks. And just think about the people who impacted your life, and I hope that one of those at least is a teacher, and maybe send a thank you to that teacher. Let them know, because like I said, we're the hardest people to thank, but I think that we do really appreciate the appreciation, and we do need to know sometimes that we've done good. So thanks for watching, and have a great night. Bye.